Hey guys, welcome back to another splattering of Fresh Meat IGN show dedicated to all things horror, film, TV, video games, books, and what have you.
That's news to me.
We'll have a special book episode.
Oh, okay.
Maybe start some sort of club.
Right.
Tristan Oakley here, joined as always by Lucy O'Brien.
Hello, Tristan.
Who was just previously in the midst of a coughing fit and almost died as we were setting up to produce this video, which is fitting because this video is all about curses that have affected the production of certain horror films and film franchises.
That is correct. And this is the spirit of Poltergeist coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Exactly, as alluded to by this image, which is of the remake or the reboot, not of the original Poltergeist. But yes, it is coming out soon, and that has spurred this idea on. And what better place to start this decidedly somber episode of Fresh Meat. I can't even say that straight face, but we will try and treat the subject matter with respect, because these are incidents on film or behind the scenes that have been fatal and quite disastrous. So let's start with the Poltergeist series, Lucy.
Yeah, right. So Poltergeist, I mean, the biggest thing about the Poltergeist Curse is that four of the actors in the trilogy, the original trilogy, died within 6 years of filming the movie. So that was, the first was Dominique Dunne, who played Dana, Carol Ann's older sister, who was strangled by her boyfriend in 1982, the same year that the film was released. Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, she died a little before the third movie opened from septic shock.
Wow.
Will Sampson, you may remember him from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He was in Poltergeist 2. He died during an operation at the age of 53. And of course, Julian Beck. Now, Julian Beck played Cain. Do you remember Cain from Poltergeist 2? He was
Not really.
He was like the evil pastor. He totally pastor, not pastor.
He was
Let me do that again. He wasn't the evil pastor. I'm not giving you that.
Pastor is evil though for your thighs.
Just Julian Beck, who played Cain in Poltergeist 2. Now, this character haunted my nightmares as a child. I wish I'd never seen Poltergeist 2 because I swear to God, I dreamt of this character for years afterwards. Right. Anyway, R.I.P. Poor Julian Beck, he died of stomach cancer at the age of 60. Now, there were also rumors that they used real skeletons in Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2, and as a result, Sampson blessed the set, but obviously some of that curse might have slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
There was also a rumor that Jo Beth Williams, who played Diane, would come home each day after filming to find the pictures on her wall askew.
That is terrifying stuff in particular.
Right?
Yeah, nothing terrifies me more than a mishung
forget death.
Wall
forget death and murder.
Yeah. Let's hope that curse doesn't continue, by the way, because Sam Rockwell's in the new film and I love him. Anyways, next up we got to move on to a little known horror film, The Exorcist, aka arguably the best horror film of all time. And of course it was about exorcising demons and whatnot. The actual production of the film was not a pleasant experience, and not just for those who don't like vomit. But the McNeil residence, the family of the film, the interior was actually destroyed by a fire, and the whole thing needed to be rebuilt.
A mysterious fire.
Sorry, a mysterious fire, not just any fire. I think there was some evil pasta that was left on the stove. Linda Blair, who of course played Regan in The Exorcist, her harness, during the scene where she's thrashing around on the bed, her harness actually broke, injuring her back quite seriously.
Yeah, so if you actually look at that scene, those screams from Blair are for real.
They are screams of anguish.
Real screams of anguish in that scene.
Do something!
Ellen Burstyn was also injured when she was thrown across the room. Her screams of pain in the film are bona fide as well. They didn't do any Foley work on this film. They just tortured the actors.
Well, it's true. I mean, William Friedkin was very, very hard on the actors in that set. I mean, he turned the thermostat, well, not the thermostat, but he made that whole sort of set totally freezing.
Right.
So their breath, which comes out as, you know, misty, was real.
That's a nice little tidbit. And there was 9 deaths.
Allegedly.
Alleged deaths of the production crew and people associated with the film prior to the film actually being released. William Friedkin, who you mentioned just a second ago, actually wanted an exorcism of the set.
Yep.
And eventually a priest visited to bless and reassure people. That's a good sign when you come into work.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So we got a priest here today.
Yeah.
Also, during screenings of the film, people would faint or vomit. I'm not sure if this is necessarily a sign of a curse or a sign of some, distressing subject matter, but still.
Yeah, well, who can say? But yeah, certainly it didn't seem like a vacation, that production. Unlike the movie Vacation, which was not cursed at all. I don't know why I mentioned that. Lucy.
All right, moving on. Rosemary's Baby. Now, this is another story of absolute tragedy. Starting off fairly innocuously, but still on a bad foot. So star Mia Farrow was served her divorce papers from then husband Frank Sinatra whilst on set. That was sort of the beginning of things getting bad. The film's composer died of a blood clot a year after working on the movie, echoing a fate of one of the film's characters. Again, this is another sort of satanic film. A lot of these curses have to do with films, are attached to films with satanic themes.
Dabbling in the dark arts.
That's right. Producer William Castle suffered kidney failure shortly after he finished working on the movie, and while he was being treated, he allegedly yelled out, "Rosemary, for God's sake, drop the knife."
That's pretty creepy.
A year later, now this is, of course, we all know this terrible tragedy. A year later, director Roman Polanski's wife, Sharon Tate, and their unborn child were murdered by members of Charles Manson's family in their home in Benedict Canyon. So again, a lot of tragedy associated with that film. And again, satanic themes.
I wonder if there was any tragedies that occurred during the making of Encino Man.
You don't bag your friends just because they get in your way, no matter what, dude. Like you care? The only thing you have ever cared about in your life is nugs, chillin', and grinding.
Let's move on to The Crow. Quite famously, The Crow was tragically where Brandon Lee was killed. But that wasn't the only. We'll get to that in a second. That was just the culmination of a string of accidents and problems. And in fact, on the first day of shooting The Crow, a crew member had to be was hospitalized after a crane that I assume a camera rig or something. The crane that he was operating or riding in crashed into power lines.
He suffered like 90% burns on his body.
Wow,
so.
That is brutal. Then after that, a sculptor who was not happy with craft services or something, some kind of vendetta against the production team, actually drove his car through the plaster shop where they were making props for the film, causing a crazy amount of damage. I don't think anyone was actually hurt, but obviously it was damage to the bottom line of the production.
A big setback.
Yeah. A crew member, a clumsy crew member, drove a screwdriver through his hand. Don't know how you do that, but
apparently he tripped and fell.
Ouch. But obviously the biggest tragedy during the production of the Crow was the death of Brandon Lee, who was killed when a gun that was supposed to be loaded, a prop gun loaded with
dummy bullets.
Dummy sort of cartridges. I think it had metal lodged in the barrel or a bullet lodged in the barrel or something like that. And was fired into his chest, and he died. And a lot of people talk about the sort of Lee family curse and all this kind of stuff, but I think it was just a tragic accident.
Oh, it's just Gillette. I mean, as are so many of these. I mean, of course, we like to sort of build curses around things because it sort of lends a sense of romance and also a sense of like rationale to things, like trying to sort of reason.
Well, I suppose
get some reason behind tragedy.
There's either the curse or the conspiracy.
That's right, the curse or the conspiracy.
Maybe he was murdered by the triads.
It's true.
Which is what a lot of people said about Bruce Lee's death.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so we're up to our final movie curse. Now, this is the big daddy of movie curses. I mean, there is so much went wrong on the production of this film that
it's all in the name, really.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just stupid. Again, a movie all about Satan. The Omen,
Yeah.
the original Omen.
You're setting yourself up for disaster.
Exactly, calling yourself that. 2 months before the movie was scheduled to begin, now this is, again, it starts off on a really sort of awful, tragic note. Star Gregory Peck's son killed himself, so he was already kind of in a really dark place before filming started. On his way to London to begin filming, Peck's plane was hit by lightning.
Wow.
But it gets worse. Then screenwriter David Seltzer's plane was also hit by lightning.
Jeez.
And then, now I honestly don't know how true this is, but this is one of the sort of alleged things that happened. Apparently, executive producer Mace Newfield's plane was also hit by lightning.
What? Did planes back then only take off when there was storms around?
Yeah, that was the rule.
Yeah. The weather's fine, we can't take off. Yeah.
Now, Newfield had a really terrible time during production. Well, you know, he had a really terrible time that year because the hotel he was staying in was bombed by the IRA.
And then struck by lightning.
And then hit by lightning. Well, but it was bombed by the IRA.
Wow. Yeah.
A tiger handler that came in to talk to the cast and crew about handling animals. 2 weeks later, he was pulled into a tiger enclosure by his head and eaten alive.
Wow. That is horrific.
Yeah. I might actually have that wrong. It might have been a lion. But anyway, it was some animal that ate
We won't
that ate him
squabble
alive.
over the species.
A plane that was scheduled to be used for aerial work in the film was rescheduled at the very last minute. On its next flight, it crashed and killed everyone on board.
Wow.
So that's dark. Now the final sort of ominous, terrible thing attached to this film. It sort of airs into very urban legend territory, but yeah, the verdict's out. A set designer on the film and his assistant were involved in a car accident in Holland. He survived, but she was decapitated. Apparently, after sort of he stumbled out of the wreckage, he looked up and saw a road sign that said Omen 66.6 kilometers.
That does sound bit too...
It sounds...
We should point out Omen, like it's
spelt
slightly different.
Slightly
O-M-M-E-N.
Yeah.
66.6 kilometers on a sign. You don't really see decimals that often on road signs, do
But
you?
I think that the idea was that it was a supernatural sign.
Oh,
okay.
it
It wasn't just like a sign that was there. It was
was
a
just
sign.
erected
by Satan.
Moments before the accident, and then immediately taken down with some flashing lights and guys in orange vests.
But of course the decapitation
That's legit.
echoes and also echoes that famous scene in the film. So.
Right, wow. So that was 5 of the most infamous horror movie curses. What are some of the most intriguing behind-the-scenes tragedies that you know of that have happened during movie productions, horror movies or otherwise? Let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you in another couple of weeks for some more fresh meat. Thank you very much, Lucy.
Thank you, Tristan.
Bye.